guys, just give a weekend private here. Let's go. Hurry up. You are running. Why are you slowing down? Why are you slowing down?
So you've probably heard some horror stories about Army basic training, but believe it or not, there's actually some pretty good parts. What's up, my friends? Welcome to an all-new video. U.S. Army veteran ThatChrisChaos here to tell you about the good parts of Army basic training. It's not all the worst thing in the entire world. There are definitely some parts that suck a lot, probably, but there are also some parts that you can look forward to, some things that, you know, you'll be able to cherish. So this will probably vary from person to person, but in my experience, some experience from some friends and everything like that, I kind of put together some things that definitely, you know, were pretty cool about Army basic training, or they were fun, or whatever the case might have been. But if these don't line up with the things that you had fun doing, well, that's just because you had a different experience than a lot of other people do, or whatever the case might be. Because like I said, experiences will vary. So let's get into it and let's talk a little bit about some of the best parts of it. The first one, I feel like we have to do the obvious one, graduation day. For obvious reason, graduation day is a good one, right? You feel accomplished, it's over, this whole craziness is finally done, and you are now graduating from basic training or even OSIT. But there's a lot more that kind of goes along with that, right? You have this ceremony, and even like the current one that they kind of do is all really hardcore and pretty cool, and probably got some smoke and some cool stuff going on that makes you feel like really motivated and kind of, you know, shows off to your family if they're able to come out to it, you know, that, hey, look how cool I am now. Obviously, as I'm making this video with COVID and everything like that, if you are someone that goes through basic training and you're graduating and COVID's still going on, then yeah, this may not be as cool as often other people have experience with, but you know, there will be still some parts about it being still pretty cool, especially like the feeling of just accomplishment. But also some fun stuff, also outside of COVID, like I said, is that you finally get a chance to maybe hang out with family, right? Maybe your family came to watch the graduation. You probably get like maybe a few hours to take off with them, maybe get some fast food, get some kind of things you've been missing out on, and kind of just enjoy life again for a little bit. Even if you don't have family coming, typically you will be allowed usually to go with a battle buddy, go with another soldier to go do something. I remember in my case, my family did not come out to Fort Benning, Georgia for my graduation, so me and two other soldiers, we took off to the nearby mall, ate some fast food, watched a movie, had a good time. So even outside of just the accomplishment of finishing basic training, you have some fun stuff you get to do as long as COVID's not still going on when you go to basic training. But if you do, well, at least you made it, I guess. Now, another thing, the second thing on my list as far as things that are usually pretty cool about basic training is the obstacle course. Yes, it is tiring and it is exhausting, but for the most part, this is for you to build confidence, for you to, yes, get a little bit of a workout in as well, but that is the main focus of it, is the obstacle course is there to build confidence. They have a confidence course usually as part of it or separate from it, but usually all kind of tied together. But the main thing about it is that usually all your other fellow soldiers are trying to motivate each other because you want to finish it together. You don't want to just suck at it. Because yes, if you suck at it and you're not putting forth like 100% effort, then the drill sergeants start getting on you and then they start yelling at you. But for the most part, the drill sergeants are usually trying to motivate you too, saying, you know, I mean, they're kind of yelling like, yeah, let's go, or whatever kind of a thing, you know, however, they're kind of yelling at you in a way to kind of motivate you, not in the same kind of like scary, like you're gonna get your ass kicked or something kind of, you know, motivation, but in the manner of let's get these obstacles completed. So it definitely has a different tone than a lot of the other basic training kind of events that are going on. You know, it's not the same kind of, you know, drill sergeants yelling at you kind of a thing. It's more in a manner to kind of try to motivate you. So you're trying to push hard and try to get through these obstacles, and you're kind of trying to be competitive a little bit in some ways. You also have the other soldiers that are trying to, you know, motivate you to get going through it. And as long as you're giving forth like as much effort as you possibly can, then usually it ends up being, you know, somewhat kind of fun. There are some factors that can throw it off, right? If you're afraid of heights, then yeah, there might be some of it that might be, you know, not so fun for you. If you go through it and you're just exhausted or you're not giving your all, then yeah, then the gears are gonna kind of shift, and the drill sergeants, instead of trying to motivate you, are gonna kind of motivate you in a different way of kind of more like yelling at you. So now the attention's being drawn to you and the drill sergeants are on you and they're yelling at you and they're probably cursing at you or whatever, trying to get you to get through this damn obstacle and all that kind of stuff. So as long as you give 100% through the obstacle course and just kind of go with the flow of all the other soldiers and try to motivate each other, it's usually pretty fun. Now you've probably been eyeballing my shirt thinking, hey, I wonder where I can get one of those badass shirts. Well, thanks to the sponsor of this video, Into the AM, I've got a link down in the description box where you can pick up your own. Into the AM has some pretty good shirts. They have some cool graphic ones like I have here, but they also have some really comfortable basic ones. They sent me over several shirts and everything like that, and I like the graphic one, of course, but even the basic ones are very comfortable. They're lightweight. I feel like you could probably do a lot of activities in that thing and feel great about it and not feel like restrained. Yeah, sure, probably even that too. They're great shirts. When you use the link down in the description box to visit intotheam.com/ChrisChaos, you can receive 20% off of your purchase. Now, additionally, if you sign up for their tea club, you can also get a free t-shirt with that first month that you sign up for. So head down to the description box down below for that link for intotheam.com/ChrisChaos to pick up some awesome shirts. Now let's get into the third thing that I've got on this list, and that is the last week of basic training. Not just simply because it's towards the end, but things in certain aspects will relax a little bit, and it kind of feels almost kind of normal in a way. You go through all these different weeks, of probably getting yelled at and getting smoked and all sorts of stuff. I mean, the last week you might still get smoked too, but there's certain aspects of it that just start to feel normal. You start to kind of get used to it, and you kind of start understanding how things work a little bit better. You'll also see sometimes the drill sergeants kind of open up to you a little bit. I mean, not like pouring their heart out or anything like that, but maybe joking around with you a little bit more, being less of a scary individual that's trying to be intimidating to you, and more of just a non-commissioned officer that's trying to motivate you or trying to make sure you succeed, and having a little bit of fun, maybe poking some jokes. One of the things I remember was that towards that last week of basic training, you started seeing some of the drill sergeants kind of not completely relaxing, but they'd be more conversational in certain ways, to where they would be like, hey, what are your goals in the Army, and kind of giving you a little bit of tips from their experience. It's definitely a different kind of pace than like that very first week, or even that second week really, where they're yelling at you, they're in your face and everything. And now they've kind of at this kind of point where now they're kind of mentoring you, and they're kind of making sure that they are able to pass on some of their knowledge to you so that hopefully you can succeed. So it was kind of fun because they're like making jokes and everything like that. I remember we were at one of the little training exercises, I think during the last week, and one of the drill sergeants wanted to have a little contest of seeing which soldier can do the best impression of the different drill sergeants. And so some of the soldiers would get up there and try to give their impression of a specific drill sergeant from whatever platoon or whatever the case was, and we're having a good time and laughing, and it was pretty good. Another good thing you'll get from Army basic training is the people that you'll meet. It's a different kind of environment, right? You don't have a whole lot of other jobs that are like that, where you take people from all across the United States and put them together and train together and get to know them. You learn a lot about what it's like for certain people. And for example, like when I joined the Army, I didn't know grits existed. I didn't know what the hell that was. I remember a soldier from the South, that's a pretty big thing over in that South area, and probably other parts of the United States too, but I was from California, I'm from California, and that wasn't really a thing in California that I knew of. So I had this soldier teaching me about what the heck grits were and everything like that. I didn't like him or anything, but it was still nonetheless an experience I remember of learning from someone that grew up differently than me. And so from that experience, I met some pretty awesome soldiers, some individuals that were pretty cool, that I still remember to this day. It was a long ass time ago that I went to Army basic training, but I still remember some of those people and some of the impression that they left on me. Sadly, I don't have any contact with any of them. I think that the two main people I was really close with, there was one soldier, he ended up getting injured during basic training, and ended up, I think, getting chaptered out of the Army due to his injuries. And then another one I was pretty close with, and he carried on over into my first duty station for Fort Riley, Kansas. And we stayed pretty close, but then he ended up going AWOL, so I kind of ended up losing track of him a little bit, and then I PCS'd off to Korea, and he went his separate way. But nonetheless, the experience of meeting those individuals and the experiences that I had of learning about just how they grew up and what it was like in different parts, of the United States was pretty amazing. And that kind of leads into, I guess, the fifth thing that I'll kind of mention in this things that are pretty good about Army basic training kind of video type of thing, and that's the memories. You definitely have a lot of memories and stories that you will probably tell for the rest of your life about how, the gas chamber was, the obstacle course, you getting smoked, you doing whatever, maybe at the range or something, right? You have a ton of stories that usually end up building from that. Some stories better than others, but nonetheless, even small little stories, you'll still remember those moments of being in Army basic training and being there with these other soldiers and what that experience was like. And you'll probably tell these stories for the rest of your life. I mean, I probably have like a ton of stories, sometimes it's hard to, right off the bat try to remember a lot of them, but like I remember being on fire guard and the drill sergeant coming in drunk from the club and everything like that. I remember this one soldier who had a bloody nose and he sneezed and blood went all over the floor because he had a bloody nose and sneezed. I remember a soldier that snuck some crackers out of the chow hall and the drill sergeants found them, and rather than him getting in trouble, they crushed up those crackers and put them inside of his bed and remade his bed. And when he went to bed that night, he had a crap ton of crumbs all inside of his bunk. Stories like that you will have, that you will remember and you'll be able to tell people for the rest of your life. So going off to Army basic training, whenever that may be, maybe it's already passed or whatever, don't try to focus on it being negative, right? It's a learning experience. It's there to motivate you. It's there to make sure you handle the pressure, train you for the Army, but try to make sure that, you take a moment to kind of remember the little things. There's gonna be some great moments. There's gonna be some great memories. There's gonna be some great people that you're going to meet in Army basic training. So don't focus on how much it sucked being smoked or how much it sucked doing this or that. Try to also remember the good things about it. Sometimes people ask me, hey Chris, how do I become a gunner in the United States Army? Well, it's actually not an MOS in the Army, so if you want to learn how to become a gunner, check this video out right here. If you've already seen that video or you already know how it works, maybe check out my latest upload right there. I also have some links down in the description for INTOTHEAM if you want to check them out. Also my social media, all sorts of other stuff. Leave a like, you're awesome. I'm ChristopherChaos and I'll see you next time. See ya.